Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, and new points list PogChamp, new points list PogChamp. Konami strategically waited until I was away from my setup to drop this, but unfortunately for them, I'm back. And now it's time to talk about the post-Genesys Championships August points update. So, this update impacts cards that were played, unsurprisingly, at the numerous Genesys Championships events. They go into effect today or tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this video, and they will be in effect for a pretty good while. We don't have a ton of product on the horizon, but of course, every time we have a new product, there is a points update that is specifically designed to hit those cards. So what we see in terms of the points is going to be hugely instrumental in what we play in this new format. I will also be playing a ton of this new format. I guess this is kind of the soft launch, but I'm going to a lot of regionals this Genesys regional season. I'm going to make an effort to do them, which is pretty easy because a lot of them are online. I'm going to be going to all of the side decks online remote regionals with the exception of, I think, one. And then I'm also going to be in Richmond and Olathe. Those are, I think, both in September. So, if you are interested in playing Genesys, please come to those and play that. Before we get into the actual points update, I do want to say, obviously, this isn't a blind react. I've had some time to sort of digest what these point changes mean, and I've play tested a pretty significant deal with the changes. So I feel like I have a better understanding of what they are going to mean and how they're going to pan out than if I was blind reacting. Let me know if you want me to go back to blind reacting. It's just the Genesys points are weird because there's just so much of a change every single time. And finally, I'll repeat this impassioned plea once again. Please fucking play Genesys. The regional season has just started, and the ones that are happening so far are not particularly well attended. The Santa Clara one had like 16 people in it. The remote one today had like 26, which was better, but not great, especially since yesterday's Genesys Discord tournament had 36 people in it. So you can really pick up some nice hardware if you're willing to play just a little bit of Genesys. All right. Let's talk about the hits. So first and foremost, I want to start with the preamble here. I don't like the way that they talk about hitting cards. They're almost completely just detailing what play rates are. I think play rate is important when determining where to assign points, but I don't think it should be the only criteria, and I don't think it is the only criteria when it comes to their methodology, but I think that would be a really cool article to see, given the last several communications from the Genesys team have just been points updates. Maybe something that explains the methodology of like how they put points to a card, like something that's a combination of play rate, win rate, kind of feels bad moments and non-games that occur as a result of these cards existing, I think are all really important. Anyway, let's begin at the beginning. Heroic Champion Rhongomyniad to 100 is absolutely perfect. God. These Tellarknight decks are absolutely absurd, and there's two things they're doing that I think are kind of beyond the pale. The first is Rhongomyniad, which they are no longer able to do, and the second is Artifact Mjolnir, which, spoiler alert, they are also no longer able to do, I believe. Not as a result of points associated with Mjolnir, but as a result of some other stuff, which we'll talk about in a moment. Blitzclique, unfortunately, was the breakaway deck of the Genesys Championships. It had a way better showing in America than in other regions, but as a result, they are throwing points on it. The biggest point getter is Thunderclap Monk, which is doing duty as the free Thunder King Ryo in the deck. I don't love Thunderclap Monk, but I can't deny it is powerful. I actually lost to it today at the regional I went to. Swan Song to the previous format. I was able to get my invite, though, which means I will be able to play bullshit in future events. Whisker to 6, Breakaway to 2, Lightning Rod Lord to 1 is hilarious. I guess we forgot the main phase 2 exists. But, of course, the big one here is the Whisker to 6, going to 18, plus Breakaway to 2, going to 6, plus the existing points, means it's something like 60 before you get to start playing non-engine, which is good. Blitzclique is a deck that if they are able to play non-engine in their already powerful deck, seems nigh unbeatable. So really happy to see less of that available. Fairy Tail, I really don't like what they've done here. I, of course, am a Fairy Tail player, but one of the things I really appreciate about Genesys is how a deck in Advanced and a deck in Genesys can play completely differently. And usually, the deck in Genesys plays a lot more interestingly. For instance, Sacred Beast in the TCG goes Spell Canceler, Thunder King Colossus, right? Thunder Dragon Colossus, rather. Whereas in Genesys, it goes like uh, the end board that Sam was going for was Raviel 3 Martyr in order to play around Nibiru. Like, I think that's really interesting. And of course, you can splurge some points on a Varudris. Technically, in Genesis, you can still play Colossus, but most elect not to. I really prefer that playstyle to the one in the TCG. Fairy Tail has a different playstyle as well because in Genesis, they don't have the points for snow. But now they do. We have brought snow from 85 back down to 10, which means the deck now almost exactly resembles the way that it plays in the TCG, which is kind of frustrating. Obviously, you don't have the link shit, but like your game plan is fundamentally the same, which is kind of unfortunate. The snow points have been distributed on Wiccat, Ball, and Match Giru, which is a nerf. I do want to be clear. This is not like a lateral movement. Ball to 10 means you probably don't play more than 2. Wiccat to 10 means you definitely don't play more than 2. You probably only play 2 Match Giru. And then that's about the same as playing snow unpointed. The difference, of course, is that you're missing out on your third searcher, your third extender here, and you're railroaded into playing snow because it's such a powerful card. You're going to have hands where you have to make the decision between snow and once upon, which puts you in a weird position against a lot of decks. Regardless, I will still jam some Fairy Tail here and there. Therion King Regulus, I am happy to see at 33. It was doing a good impression of Rafflesia sending Grave Digger's Trap Hole. Any deck that could like weave machines into its combo would make the Spriggan Zigzags and then Sargass on top, grab Regulus, summon Regulus as the 5th summon, and then you get to play around everything. Doomsy, of course, is the most popular deck doing this, but it was hardly the only one. I'm also happy to see any Earth Machine hit because one deck that I don't see a lot of discussion about is Earth Machine FTK, which has gotten top 4 at like the last 3 Genesis Discord events. Scary stuff. Tellarknight points. So Lyran to 5, Batiamus to 1, Constellar Tolmi Omega 7 to 5, Bonds to 3, Tellarknights to 1, Vimana to 10. First off, fuck you for Vimana. That fucks up my Magical Scientist deck. I will now have to find another rank 5 to put on the board before I lose. But secondly, this is all very welcome. These are in addition to their hits on the BLGG points update, which means that the main engine now costs like 500. These are small compared to what was done on the previous list, but small changes mean a lot, especially in a deck that is like really hurting for the ability to play consistent non-engine. Melffy is in a weird place. Here it is pointed by 2 on 3 individual cards. It was expected to see a lot of success, and it didn't as a result of pretty much exactly Blitzclique existing. That's one of the most frustrating matchups in Genesis right now. It is nigh unwinnable for Melffy, and as a result, Melffy really didn't convert at all. But they're putting points on it anyway because if they nerf Blitz enough, less people will play it, and this deck could potentially be really frustrating there. But they've put points on it in a really weird way. Like, God Mommy to 2, Footsteps to 2, and Staring Contest to 2. It's like, I guess they feel like they need to put some points on something. But, like, the deck can make God Mommy. It's not like it's game plan, I would say. I really don't like this approach to pointing cards. Rather than concentrating points on the obviously powerful cards, though they've done that with Footsteps here, they're instead like, well, this deck doesn't deserve a ton of points, so we'll put a low number of points on like a tertiary card in the deck. It'd be like if Sprite was like tier 1 and people were just making big fuck off boards with like a million negates on them, and then they put like 5 points on Gamma Burst. It's like, yeah, the deck does play Gamma Burst, and I guess it comes up, but is that where the power is concentrated? Surely you want the points on blue, right? Sacred Beast is interesting here. I'm happy they shout out Card of the Soul. Card of the Soul, really, really cool card. They talk about waiting for a 4K 4K. I was waiting for Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys and Duel Links. But Haemon to 2, Raviel to 2, Martyr to 3, Thunderclap to 3, Nerva to 6, and Gustav Max to 10. Gustav Max to 10 is a really funny one because decks that can play 10s do have access to like some really powerful negation tools already, and Gustav Max rank up into like Liba is just so irritating in a lot of strategies. It also really boxes out some FTKs. The other thing is that the Nerva change has a ton of implications. There are a lot of decks that like making this guy. Clown Crew comes to mind, of course. And I'm happy to see that they're at least thinking about it a little bit. These hits seem pretty nothing, you know. This is 6 points. This is 6 points. This is 3 points. This is 3 points. That seems relevant for a deck that I think was the second winningest after this most recent series of events. Crystron is an interesting one. So they have elected to hit Elf Note cards and Crystron cards while identifying that BES Crystron exists. So my understanding is that they want the BES Crystron deck to exist. It's such a fantastically cool deck and almost justified by the existence of Genesys. Slaver seeing play is fucking funny. But Sulfefnir and Tristeros are crazy powerful cards. Like, there's no way around it. It's the opposite of the Melffy problem, where these are like the playmakers in the strategy. Glad to see any points tagged onto them, and this is not a devastating amount of points anyway. Tinia to 3 is a lot, and Lucina to 1 is pretty much nothing. But good to see these big, sexy synchro decks taking any hits, because it really impacts their ability to play like free agent extra deck guys. Clown Crew has been doing good this format, mostly because of the newer build that's going like Manju and then like setting up a Nerva line. It's a 1 card. So Flare goes to 5, which is fine. This means that like it's harder to justify playing prep rights for Flare, and maybe people take a second look at like, dare I say, Incantation Chalice Lime, but either way, you know, that deck is pretty underpointed relative to its power level. So this is the interesting part of it, is when we talk about general use cards. 40% of players are playing Pair Bear Scare, which is interesting because it means 20% of players are playing Pair Bear Scare, and the other half don't want Pair Bear Scare activated against them. They are electing not to do anything about this. I think that's fine. As long as it had any points, the card gets really, really strong, but it's funny to keep it where it is. Crota 2 is interesting. I unfortunately think that as much as I want DD Crow to be like the mascot of this format and one of the free cards that like does so much, it's fine. Crota 2 will still see a lot of play, and it is a searchable, interesting card that will shape the future of Genesys by virtue of costing 2 points and being a hand trap. 7th Tachyon has finally gone to 11, and God bless Honko Chow, A Hero Lives has been hit as well. So a lot going on here. 7th Tachyon and A Hero Lives, both are just incredible search spells. Tachyon for anything, and it's played in a number of decks. The 2 big things that it was doing was revealing Ragna 0 or 101 to get a copy of Surfacing Big Jaws, or just being played in Blitzclique because that deck has 20 playables and they have to fill space, and that gets Surge, kind of. And then A Hero Lives is just 6 bodies. Like, I don't... It's like 6 bodies without the normal. You can load up on Garnets and it's 6 bodies, or you can play a Garnetless version that's 3 bodies, no bricks. Like, I don't know. It is definitely the case that this card should not have been free, which is unfortunate because I just put together Doomsy, which is playing both of these fucking cards. Finally, Royal Archfiend to 7 and Archfiend's Usurpation to 3 is kind of interesting. I do want people not to sleep on this. I've seen a lot of people be like, why is Regenesis being hit again? What's going on here? And I want to be clear, the Voiceless Voice Regenesis deck, despite the fact that no one is talking about it, had more tops than like 80% of the shit that people are scared of. It did better than RDA at the Genesys GCs. I think they are trying to find a nice place for the Regenesis cards to live. The reallotment of points that enables you to play the card capital R Regenesis was a good start, but a lot of people circumvented the points associated with Regenesis Archfiend by just playing Royal Archfiend, and that feels kind of shitty, I will be clear. Like, the thing that those decks will do now is play, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Dark Spirit's Mastery again, which is not the end of the world. Regenesis Archfiend is already so much advantage that you don't hate taking a -1. You'd prefer not to with a Royal Archfiend, of course. Changes. They have brought down the 33-point searchers almost universally, so I want to talk about those real quick. Bonfire to 15 is fine. It could go to 5 and it would be okay. Chaos Space to 13, hilarious that it was at 40. Aria to 12, you've got to be kidding me. E-Telly to 25. This is the one they have to be careful about. Because E-Telly does a ton. There are a lot of psychic monsters just waiting. Obviously, Xiamen, the assault mode cards. There's a lot that is on the cusp of being very playable. I think if this card gets to 15, people will start considering it. But at 25, it still seems unplayable. Tanky to 11, Fossil Dig to 18, Lone Fire Blossom to 10. This is a big one. Lone Fire Blossom's a really good card, and there's a significant amount of powerful plant decks that are just not considering it because 33 is an incomprehensible amount of points. But 10 is not. 10 is a playable total. 1-for-1 to 19. Why was it ever at 91? I just want someone to explain that to me. I never really figured out why that was at 91. It won't see any play at 19 either. Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye to 17. This one is quite big. And I'll talk about it when we get to the Snake Eye cards a little further down. A Quick Launch to 25, unplayable. Reinforcement of the Army to 18, unplayable. Terraforming to 20, unplayable. Okay. Phantom Knights cards. So it's pretty clear they want some 3-slop deck to be playable. And there's a ton of unhits on here that are like, we get it. You want it to be playable. Just going off some of them here. Decayed Cloak, Doom Solarlit, Malevolent Scythe, Tour Guide from the Underworld, and Big Gabonga Grand Entrance are all unhits for that deck in particular. I like that. I think the 3-slop deck is interesting. I think there's a ton of really cool ways to build it, and I do want to see it succeed. I think that probably the way it will succeed is playing some number of Goblin Bikers and some number of Phantom Knights, so I think they are on the right track. Break Sword from 0 to 1 here is for a very particular reason. The Blackwing decrease, the Emergence decrease, the Diagram decrease, all fine. None of those decks are particularly scary. Let's talk real quickly about the Fire Kings. So the Fire King Hyang went to 3, and then Ponix to 7, Kieran to 5 is a huge discount for the strategy, alongside OSS down to 17. I think there is a playable Fire King Snake Eye deck in the format, and if you want to see my early take on it, check out the channel where I've probably uploaded it by the time that this is going up. Officiator of Doom Samuel goes to 0. Completely fine for the Pumpkin deck. Happy Memory to 2 is because it was being sideboard teched against Blitzclique. Perlily to 5 is to discount the change on Happy Memory. Winded to 100 means that they can now move Apkalone to 1, Lev to 3, Schism to 1, so that you can't make this fucking card. And then Shaddoll Fusion from 0 to 3. I know Peeps had some choice words about. I really like this. I think that it was an exceptionally powerful card to leave legal. Like, when Shaddoll Fusion was being used to send a couple of cards to net like a +1 into a construct, I didn't have too much of a problem with it. Like, that was a cool thing that the Fusion slop decks could do. But now that there's a 3-match Shaddoll, this card does everything. Like, you board into this going second and you activate it, and it just nullifies an entire board and gets you at towers. Like, it is a little too powerful to be free, and I think people should consider playing it at 3 still. Last stuff I want to talk about is Desires, puts it in line with the other pots and a consideration for some of those decks. Raigeki to 2 really shows that fucking hell, you could just blow up the whole board every turn and it wouldn't be a problem. And then, of course, I have to talk about the most impactful change here, which is Thunder Crash Snarecrow has gone from 10 to 0. Okay. So, in a world where Lightning Rod Lord is the other best target for Blitzclique, I understand why they were scared of Thunder Crash Snarecrow. That said, you do not have to worry about Thunder Crash Snarecrow. It's going to be okay. This guy did not need points. It's all right that we're back to 0. They should have mentioned it, too. Anyway, super excited to see these changes. Super excited for the new format. I'm definitely going to be trying out that Fire King Snake Eye deck. There's a lot of other strategies that I would really like to take another look at now that all these change. 3-slop, chief among them, of course. If I had to give this a number, I would probably give it an 8 or a 9. I do think this is a really good list. There just are some outliers that still irritate me. I think Cosmo is still underpointed. Obviously, the hero stuff gets a lot worse when you're paying through the nose for 3 a hero lives, but doesn't get that much worse. Especially because the card's only 21. I think there's a couple of cards that are flying under the radar in terms of bullshit that wins you the game automatically. One of them is in that Earth Machine FTK deck, Cannon Soldier Mark II. which I think it would have been really easy to just take out to pasture. And when are they going to fucking put Exodia at 100? Come on, baby. That's it. Bye-bye.